Yeah, it's totally random. Pretty crazy how it turned out, but happy about it. Yeah, they also like bound me to Utah. Like I was like, I'm gonna go live in California, like in my van. It's gonna be surf all the time and be alone. And then I was like, oh, I guess playing shows is pretty fun. Actually, I'll just stay in Salt Lake.
Yeah. Cool. My name's Adam, and this is a podcast about you and your journey in music. And we'll talk about the EP. And you guys are doing a tour with Almost, so that or Almost Monday, sorry, which is amazing as well.
Yeah, we're stoked. Thanks. Cool. Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome, man. So I saw that you're born in Arizona, correct? But you basically were raised in Hawaii.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So where were you born in? What part of Arizona?
I was born in like Phoenix, and then I lived in like Mesa until I was about 6, 7.
Mm-hmm. And then from there, is that when you moved to Hawaii?
No, actually. So from there, I moved to Montana, and I lived in Montana on a horse ranch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we met this guy who needed people to just like take care. He had a big like horse ranch with like 13 horses, and he just needed people to take care of it. And so we kind of wanted to switch it up, my parents. And then we moved out to Montana. And then after that, we had a couple roundabout moves after that. But when I was like 13, I was in Hawaii, and then I lived there till I was 18.
Wow. That's gotta be quite the change, though. I mean, going from Montana, like a horse farm in Montana, to then being in Hawaii.
Yeah, it was definitely always felt like I was moving when I was younger, but I was never mad once we
yeah That's cool, man. Do you come from a musical household?
Not really, no. Like my parents don't play any instruments. And but they kind of all made their kids, like me and I have 3 sisters, so me and my sisters all play like an instrument or two. They kind of just put us in piano lessons, and then we kind of like branched off and did our own thing with other instruments, and they're always super supportive, like, of whatever we wanted to do, which is nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do your siblings still play at all, or no?
Yeah, so my younger sister actually played the viola for a little while.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then this is my youngest sister, Rio. She played the viola for a little while, and now she does like classical guitar, and she's kind of gotten into classical guitar, which is cool too. And I think she's gonna like minor in it, and when she goes to college, so it's fun.
That's really awesome. Very cool. So you picked up piano, you said, at an early age. What about from there? Did you start learning guitar, or like what was kind of your early progression in music?
Yeah, so I started on the piano, and I would just kind of like pull up chords and then just like sing and play songs on the piano. And I started doing that when I was like 12, 13. And then when I was 14, I think I might have gotten like a acoustic guitar for my birthday or something. And then from there I started like learning to play guitar, and I kind of realized that for me, at least, like the guitar was much easier to write music on.
Mm-hmm.
Something about like playing guitar is so much like patterns, and I just like something about that just like made more sense to me. But
yeah, did you always like writing, or was writing songs always something you wanted to do? Like,
I always like I said, I kind of always would just like play and sing like to chords, like kind of just like, whatever song I like pop song or whatever. But like,
mm-hmm.
I was kind of like getting into it, and actually I had one of my friends so I lived in Utah for like 5 months when I was like 12, and that was like kind of right when I started really getting into like music and singing.
Mm-hmm.
I met, and one of my friends, I was at her house, and her like older brother was there, and he was in a band called like Solar Suit. And I thought it was so sick that like he was in a band and like he like wrote music and stuff. And he's like, yeah, dude, like you got like a great voice. Why don't you just like write songs? And then I was like, I don't know. And then I got like 12-year-old me was just like, I guess I could just write songs. And then I started writing songs after that, like pretty much all the time. They were obviously not great, but I think I thought they were great at the time, and so it kept me doing it.
Yeah, I mean, you must have had. I mean, obviously you were on The Voice, and your voice is incredible on the recordings, on your records, and the solo stuff that you do.
Thank
Was that something that you knew you could do early on? Like, were your parents like, "Wow, Tyke's got a great voice. We should put him in chorus or choir or anything like that," or was it just something that you knew how to do?
It at first definitely like came more naturally. Like I think it's always been like an expression for me, like listening to a song and like kind of like belting to it has always like just felt so good to me. Like I remember I like can like really just like imagine doing it when I was like 9 years old, like 9 and 10. Just like I can specifically remember just like loving like scream singing. And I mean, like, who doesn't? Like, I know that's
Right.
probably, but like I just remember doing that. And then like when I lived in Montana, I went to like a 20 kids school, and they put on a play. So like everyone in the entire school was like in this play,
Mhm.
and like someone else in the town was called Wise River, but someone else in the town had like written this play called the it was called The Fat Man of the Opera, and it was basically like a kind of weird like Santa Claus like opera play.
Mhm.
And I like was like the opera Santa Claus, and I just thought it was like hilarious. But like people were like coming up to me after like wow, you actually like kind of sang like good. And I was like kind of weirded out because it was like a funny play, but then I was like it kind of just like stuck with me. And then yeah, I don't know, I always singing kind of came naturally. I did take lessons for a little while, like I wanted to like get better, and so my parents put me in lessons. But I don't know, yeah,
Mhm.
kind
Well,
of just
that's cool to have, you kind of got that early validation, people coming up to you like, well, and you're probably I mean, that sounds like you were the lead character in in the play anyway, right? I mean, to be the Santa that the whole show's about.
I don't know. I was the only one in the play that like sang. I think
Okay.
I can't remember. I think I might have been like some kind of antagonist. Like I kind of would just like show up and like sing opera and like ruin things. I don't super, but I remember it wasn't the biggest role. Like it was
Okay.
a random role, but I would just like show up and like only like sing, like I was like stuck in a musical or something. So.
Got it. Well, but to have people go, you're really good, man. You should keep going on with this, and then to take voice lessons, and after that. So it sounds like people let you know early on, like, hey, Tyke, you're pretty good at this singing
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. That I think the validation definitely like helped me to like kind of like be like, oh, okay, like maybe I'll do this more, or just like do this not to the radio.
Right, right. So once you met this person when you're in Utah and they said, hey, you should write songs, you got a great voice, and you continued doing that. Like once you said you didn't get a guitar though until you're 14, so you would have been in Hawaii at that point. You were
Hmm.
trying a little bit on piano, but once you got the guitar, did that kind of become a thing that you were like, obsessed of, or you're like, oh, I got this guitar now, I can use it as a vehicle to write the songs I want to write.
Hmm. Yeah, and the guitar too, like it also feels like a little more personal and a little bit more of like an expression to me as well. So it's like piano tends to have this really like kind of dramatic connotation. And so I think when I was writing songs, they were kind of coming off not how I wanted them to.
Hmm.
And when I got the guitar, it was like it just kind of made sense. It was like, oh, okay, now I can like actually like produce a kind of energy that I want to with a song.
Sure. And were you the songs that you were writing, were you showing them to anyone, or did you have like a YouTube channel or anything like that? Like, were you putting them up anywhere that people could find them, or was it a personal thing just to you?
Yeah. So like I remember when I first like started playing the piano and singing, and when I lived in Utah. So I basically went to like 7th grade. I moved here like right before 7th grade, and then we moved right after.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I had like a couple friends that were just like really just like way too supportive of me, and just like really would just like hype me up. And I remember they would always like try to get me to sing like at like whenever we were hanging out at people's houses or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I had some sweet friends, I think, when I was in 7th grade, and that definitely helped as well. I also, when I was in 7th grade, tried out for a talent show, and I got rejected. They didn't want me to perform at the talent show.
Wow,
So,
really?
Yeah.
Was it like an original song, or was it just a cover? That person's kicking themselves.
I think it was a cover. Yeah.
Okay.
It was like kind of like before I started really writing. It was like around the same time. But
okay. And I know you obviously you're on The Voice, and I don't want to spend too much time on that subject because that's not what this podcast is about. But I'm just curious, I think you're only like 17 years old from the clips that I was watching when you were on the show. Was it something that you wanted to audition for? Or like, how did that even kind of land in front of you?
So I like, when I was like around that same time when I was like getting into singing, I wanted to. I was like, I want to go and be like the youngest person there. So that was like when I was like 13. I don't remember what the age is. I think it was like 13 or 14. I must have been 14. So I think I was playing guitar. But anyway, I went and I auditioned in Vegas, and I didn't make it. And I was like, pretty bummed, but whatever,
Sure.
And then living in Hawaii, like they emailed me randomly. Like I did some summertime band camp, and there was a video of that online of like me playing there, and they found the video, saw that I'd auditioned, and emailed me and said, hey, could you come back and like audition again? And I like just didn't want to. I was just like, it just seemed dumb to me. Like I was like, okay, I know I did this only a few years ago, but also like obviously I've improved, but like I kind of thought it was just not a chance. But my mom made me.
Thanks, Mom.
My mom made me, and I know that I wasn't easy when I was 17. So props to her. But anyway,
most kids aren't.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, dude, I just want to buy a van and like go live in it. Like, where are you trying to get me on a reality TV show? But anyway, so I did, and then it just kind of worked out from there. Like, I was just kind of like on for the ride. I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, I guess. And they're like keep having me back to like audition again, and I was like, okay, I guess this is working out. I don't know. It was a really fun time because I was just like, I can't believe this is actually happening. This is like the whole time. And like I pull up to the show, and I'm like, I like literally everyone here has a better voice than me. I don't know why I'm here. And like I made it to like a few rounds. I made it through like 5 or 6 rounds, and I think it was solely because like I had a good relationship with Adam Levine, my coach.
Yeah,
he just really liked me, and like for some reason, and I was just like, okay, like cool.
Well, he saw something in you. I mean, I watched just a clip of you actually getting, him to turn the chair around or whatever. And he says clear in the beginning, like, basically was like, you could, he told you could pretty much win. I mean, he was like, your voice is so good. And to have somebody at his caliber tell you that you're, how good you are, that must have been really, awesome as well. Totally, I'm sure built your confidence in that way.
Yeah, it was totally like he was definitely a hype man as well. Like and then whenever we'd like practice or whatever, he'd just be like, don't worry about it, like just do your thing, like whatever you want to do, like let's just make it original, like whatever you want to do, let's just do it, and like you don't have to worry about what you think you need to do, because like you just have like a different voice than everyone here. So
and you have like a presence on the stage, I think, which helps a lot with those shows. I mean, you'll watch American Idol or whatever, and they'll have these people on there that have just these crazy powerhouse voices, or they'll be singing for X million years, perfect pitch or whatever. But when it comes to like being an artist and being something that the audience can latch onto, it's just such a different thing. Like, you don't have to be like the #1 best singer. Those people never really win the whole contest at the end. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. I think like, I mean, I really can't like watch my old performances because I could just like see like the nervousness and like the uncomfortability. Like,
Sure.
but
no
like,
one else sees that. You know what I mean?
I guess so. I guess like, but anyway, yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, and then after the show, that's when you started to write your own records, right? And is that when the Moss started, or was it much later than that? Or
yeah. So me and my friend Addison, we met in Hawaii. We've been friends since we were like 14. And like just kind of playing music. Our friendship kind of formed around like just playing music together and like surfing. But we'd always been doing music together. He'd moved here to Salt Lake, in Utah. And right after The Voice, I acquired a van. So like, I actually always wanted to move into a van, and I acquired a van and moved into it. And then I came out here because I was like, oh, let's like play some shows, because we played a couple like house shows, just
the two of you,
just me and him, like over on Oahu. But I was like, oh yeah, we could like play some shows. And so we kind of got together. We played a couple shows, just me and him. And then we also met Willie in Hawaii and had jammed with him and knew that he played the drums. And so he started playing with us. Like, our first official show, I think, was September of 2018, like after or not September, later. Anyway, 2018,
end of 2018. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so we like had officially like played as a band then, and then started recording songs and stuff.
And that started when you were all in Salt Lake at that time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's cool that you all kind of met, you know, in Hawaii and then moved to Salt Lake. It's just like a, you know, I don't know, kind of a random spot to all kind of end up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's totally random. Pretty crazy how it turned out, but happy about it. Yeah, they also like bound me to Utah. Like, I was like, I'm gonna go live in California, like in my van, and be surf all the time and be alone. And then I was like, oh, I guess playing shows is pretty fun. Actually, I'll just stay in Salt Lake.
Yeah. And what was like kind of the first? I mean, the band starts, and you have to. Was there like a milestone success moment that you remember happening that really kept you guys going forward? I mean, obviously, your career is doing awesome now, but when you first start a band, it's like, you guys don't really know, is this going to work?
Yeah. I don't know. I honestly never really thought about it. Like, I'd had a few fans from The Voice that were like coming to shows at the beginning. And that was enough for me to just like keep doing it. Like, we had shows where no one would come, you know, like a couple people would show up that were like probably whose house it was. And then, you know, like definitely had shows like that. But it was, in my mind, it was always just like, oh, it's just like, just got to keep playing shows. I don't know.
Like, with you just recently put out the EP, and I was reading an article or an interview that you did, and you said the songs that are on it are, some of them are quite old, right? Is it like there's a couple of years? Was it you had some songs? Is this the right record where you had some songs that it took a while to put out, or there was something along those lines with these songs?
With our new EP songs?
Yeah, with Insomnia, yeah.
Not really. Like,
okay.
They all came together. Like, we recorded them a long time ago. So we recorded them like September's ago.
Okay, that's what I saw. Yeah,
Yeah.
you had them for a while, right?
Yeah, we've never like just like had songs for that long.
Mm-hmm.
But it was in a time where like our team was developing, and like we'd met our booking agent Eddie Senna, and he'd like started managing us a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of was like, he's like, guys, he's the one who advised us not to put them out yet. And he's like, guys, having like, these are great songs, having them like gives us like a reason for people to work with us. So like, let's do that. And then he helped us find our managers, Andrew and Alex at 7S Management.
Mm-hmm.
And then our management soon after, they helped us put out Insomnia, and then helped us find our label S Curve, we've been working with for a few months now. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's smart to keep them, to hold them, right? I mean, you guys were you kind of itching to put them out? You're like, okay, we've got these. Like, it's been a while.
yeah, we were giving him such a hard time. We were like, dude, I mean, like, you've got like you've got a month to find us a manager. Like, I'm sick of like not songs. But it all worked out. Like, I'm glad we trusted him, and we're really have him on our team and stuff. So
that's amazing. And with the title track, Insomnia has your most streamed song, at least on Spotify. Was that just something that people latched onto? Did you have like a big moment with that song on, social media or anything like that?
No, yeah, not really. Like, it was, I mean, before we released Insomnia, well, I guess releasing Insomnia, it was like, pretty typical. Like, it was doing a little bit better than songs we put out in the past. And that was like fun and exciting. But then like all of a sudden it got on this indie rock playlist, and then it was like really doing better than any of our, because it's like just one of the bigger indie rock playlists, and it's just crazy how that works. And it totally just like changed where we were at, kind of.
Yeah, it's wild how like one Spotify like editorial playlist could just really change everything for an artist, but it could also, have that one song do well and nothing else. But your guys' streams are all around the same. I mean, it's not like it was like, okay, this one has 5 million and all the other ones are like that negative or less than like 1,000 logo, you know what I mean? They all do well. So that's huge. I would imagine as a band being like, okay, it's not just one thing that's working. All of these songs, even before on the record that you put before, Kentucky Derby, that one has a bunch of streams as well.
Yeah, I feel lucky like to not come to a show and be like, all right, I know you're all waiting to hear Insomnia, because it is like people like our other songs too. So it's nice.
Yeah, it's not like, okay, we're gonna just hold this one to the end and everyone's gotta kind of have to wait through the set.
Yeah.
But yeah, to have people enjoy all of them, and that's massive.
Yeah, it is. It's really nice. Feel lucky for sure.
And you're doing a tour with Almost Monday, which is awesome. Those guys are from San Diego. That's where I'm from originally. I've had them on the podcast before. Yeah.
Sick. Yeah. I haven't met or talked to them personally yet, but I'm stoked to hang out with them. And yeah, I like their music and everything, so it's gonna be a good time.
You pretty excited about the tour?
Yeah, I'm so pumped. Like, I haven't been to that part of the country. Like, we're going to what's that? It's not Louisiana. Is it Louisiana? New Orleans. We're going to
New Orleans. Yeah. I was gonna pull up the thing here.
Yeah, I'm stoked to go to New Orleans. Never been. And then obviously stoked to play in Georgia. Like, Georgia's another place I've kind of always wanted to go. I've kind of do it, but never spent time there. And like Atlanta is like obviously like kind of a music hub in a way, so that's cool too.
Oh yeah, it's definitely in the last few years too. It's blowing up. A lot of entertainment is going there, with even movies and television shows and everything. It's moving out to Atlanta.
Yeah, it seems like a really sick place. So yeah, I'm so pumped for tour and play some more shows.
It's exciting, man. And since you've had those other songs, kind of in your back pocket for a while. Were you writing? You must have been writing for those other couple. You said it was like 2 falls ago or 2 summers ago before that. Like, do you have a bunch of songs that are ready to come out and you're kind of like itching to get those out just because there's been time to kind of sit on them?
Yeah, I like I like to just like kind of stay busy with like my songwriting, and like I actually really have released a lot of like solo music since recording those. And I've like recorded like an entire album of solo music that I'm like kind of waiting to put out. And then also, yeah, I've just written a ton of songs for the band that we're slowly starting. We're demoing out, so we've demoed out like 5 of them.
Wow.
So yeah, we're definitely a lot of music in the pocket right now, which is just fun. But I don't know, up until recording the EP, it was like write the song, go into the studio, like record it, and then release it.
Yeah.
And like same with our first album, like we did it all ourselves, so it was like I was able to just like spend a ton of time just like figuring out how to mix and whatever. But
oh, really? You did that whole album yourself, or you guys
yeah,
did it independently? Wow, that's impressive.
yeah, we'd recorded a little bit like in like Logic, but yeah, I was just like, well, if we're gonna ever do it by ourselves, it better be the first one. And then just kind of got what we needed, a couple of microphones and an interface, and then yeah.
Wow. With your solo stuff, do you know, I'm sure you've got this question before, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Like, when you write a song, do you know if it's gonna be something that, oh, I should show this to the band, or this is more personal, or the sounds too different that when something's gonna go for maybe your solo project versus a song for the Moss?
Yeah, I don't know. Like you in the past, it's been like our Moss music is like very performance based. So we're like, what would be a fun song to like play? Like it's based around like fun to play and perform, and also just kind of if the other guys like it, really. Like if I'll start playing it, and then if no one kind of gets into it, then I'm like, okay, that's just a me song, I guess. And then I tend to like take the songs I do by myself, and like I'll just kind of like I'll usually play all the instruments on it, and then also just kind of like take it to a weird place, and just kind of make it sound weird, because I like there's so much you can do like from a production side of things nowadays, like just like having a laptop and like different plugins and whatever. Like there's just so many crazy sounds. So I like keeping like our mouse stuff a little more rock based, rock and like performance, and then kind of my solo stuff I can kind of like let go and just kind of do whatever feels right.
Be a little more experimental with that.
Yeah.
And do you produce then all your solo stuff? You said you did all the instruments and everything. Is that just something that you like a solo project in the sense that you're sitting there recording and doing everything yourself as well?
Yeah, that's mainly with my solo stuff. And then I like technically, I guess, like we all produced our first couple albums, and then this EP was our first time working with an actual producer.
Was that different, like having another voice in the room?
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed having like just being able to like do like not being able to worry about like technical stuff. Like that was pretty freeing. Just having someone there being like getting it all ready, and then being like, okay, go. And then like kind of telling me like what they think, and like being able to trust that. And like that was, yeah. So that I really like working with producer.
Yeah, I can imagine having to think everything through, and then having the technical standpoint too. Like, okay, I got to record this in a certain way. It's got to sound at where the mic's going to go. You get to probably focus a lot more on what the song is and the art that you're making with just the sound of the band versus 10 million other things going on outside of that.
Yeah, and it's like I think there is beauty in like trying to achieve a sound when I'm by myself and like not quite being able to do what I was like imagining because you new stuff. I think there's definitely something to that. But like also just being able to be like, hey, can you give that like kind of like a shimmery, you know, like
Yeah,
can you
can
make
just hey, descriptive words like, can you make it sound kind of like this? And
yeah,
like, yeah,
do that like in the way that they think. It's like that's nice.
yeah, that's cool, man. Well, I appreciate you taking time and chatting with me today. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. Thanks for talking to me, man.
Yeah, I have one more quick question for you before I let you go. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
I think like something that I kind of learned when I was I don't know. Anyway, I think like something that I kind of live by is just like trust yourself and like know your strengths, because like everyone has things to them that like other people don't have. And once you find those things, I think that's where you can be powerful and stand out.